Classroom Management. Episode 1 of 6. Giving clear, effective instructions. One of the key aspects of effective classroom management is giving clear and concise instructions for activities. Many teachers struggle with this, which can lead to confusion, time loss, and disengaged students. Below are some helpful strategies and common pitfalls to avoid when it comes to delivering brilliant instructions. Why are good instructions important? Effective instructions set the stage for successful learning. When instructions are unclear, students may become confused, frustrated, or disengaged. Clear instructions help maintain flow, ensure everyone understands the task, and lead to more productive class time. In this audiobook, we dive into one of the most overlooked yet crucial aspects of classroom management: giving brilliant instructions. Clear instructions can make or break a lesson. When students understand what's expected of them, they stay engaged, focused, and on task, making your teaching experience smoother and more effective. Whether you're a seasoned educator or just starting out, these practical strategies will help you deliver instructions that stick, saving you time and effort while keeping your classroom running smoothly. Focus points. Why clear instructions matter. How well-structured instructions can enhance classroom dynamics and improve learning outcomes. Common pitfalls to avoid. Learn about the most frequent mistakes teachers make when giving instructions, like using tricky language or being overly polite, and how to avoid them. How to craft clear, concise instructions. Step-by-step techniques to plan, deliver, and simplify instructions for optimal student comprehension. Checking for understanding. Effective strategies for making sure your students grasp what they need to do, without relying on the ineffective "do you understand?" question. Timing and task setup. Whether to give instructions before or after introducing materials, and how to manage transitions between tasks. Learning outcomes. Master the art of clarity. Learn how to deliver instructions that are clear, concise, and easy for students to follow. Improve classroom flow. Understand how better instructions can lead to smoother transitions, less confusion, and more focused student engagement. Avoid common mistakes. Identify and overcome common teacher pitfalls such as being too wordy, using tricky language, or giving too many instructions at once. Effectively check understanding. Develop techniques to assess whether students truly understand the task without relying on superficial confirmation. Boost your confidence. Feel more prepared and confident when giving directions, knowing that your instructions are understood and followed. Focus point 1. Why clear instructions matter. Clear instructions are the foundation of effective classroom management. When students know exactly what is expected of them, they can focus on the task at hand without confusion or hesitation. Clarity in instructions reduces time wasted on misunderstandings and allows for more productive class time. For instance, when a teacher explains an activity in simple, direct terms such as form groups of 3 and discuss the key theme of the story for 5 minutes, students immediately know their roles and can begin the task with minimal questions. In contrast, vague instructions like "work together on the story for a while" leave too much room for interpretation, leading to students asking for clarification or starting the task incorrectly. Research supports the idea that clear communication improves classroom engagement. A study published in the Journal of Educational Psychology found that students perform significantly better when teachers provide unambiguous instructions and expectations. As Aristotle once said, "The more you know, the more you realize you don't know." This applies to instructions. Teachers often assume students understand, but without clarity, learning can falter. Recommendations. Before class, take a few minutes to plan how you will deliver instructions. Visualize yourself giving them step by step. Use clear, simple language appropriate for the age and level of your students. Whenever possible, provide written or visual aids to complement your verbal instructions. Focus point 2. Common pitfalls to avoid. Even experienced teachers can fall into common traps when giving instructions. One such trap is overcomplicating the language used. Saying something like, "I need you to promptly collaborate in small clusters to elaborate on this morning's literary exploration," may confuse students, especially younger ones. Instead, saying "get into small groups and talk about the story we read earlier" is much more effective. Another common mistake is over-politeness. Constantly using phrases like "would you mind?" or "could you possibly?" weakens the directive power of the instruction and may confuse students into thinking they have a choice in how or whether to complete the task. In the book The Skillful Teacher, Stephen D. Brookfield emphasizes that too much politeness can be misinterpreted as a lack of authority, which may lead to chaos in the classroom. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind, as Brené Brown famously said. Unclear instructions can make students feel lost, and they may not always ask for help out of fear of looking unprepared or unengaged. Recommendations: avoid using overly complex language or phrasing. Keep it simple and direct. Maintain a balance between being polite and assertive to ensure students understand they need to follow the instructions. Avoid providing too many instructions at once. Break them down into manageable chunks. Focus point 3. How to craft clear, concise instructions. Creating clear and concise instructions is both an art and a science. Instructions should be short, direct, and leave little room for misinterpretation. Teachers who ramble while explaining activities risk losing the student's attention, especially younger learners with shorter attention spans. For example, saying, "We're going to practice our math skills by working on these problems. Each person will get a worksheet and you have 10 minutes to finish. Try to solve at least 3 problems. When you're done, check your work with a partner before turning it in." Is concise and structured. In contrast, so what we're going to do is, everyone will get a worksheet, and well, you should probably try to do 3 questions, and if you finish, maybe ask someone to check it, then hand it in, lacks clarity. John Hattie's research on visible learning has consistently shown that clear goals and expectations boost student achievement. Teachers who explain tasks with precision set students up for success. Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." This applies directly to teachers who must distill complex tasks into simple, actionable steps. Recommendations: stick to the essential details. Avoid going off on tangents that might confuse students. Use bullet points or lists when providing multi-step instructions. Practice delivering concise instructions by summarizing complex tasks before class. Focus point 4. Checking for understanding. It's easy for teachers to assume that students understand the task just because they nod or say yes when asked, "Do you understand?" However, this doesn't necessarily mean comprehension. Instead, teachers should actively check for understanding by asking students to explain the task back to them, or perform a quick demonstration of the first step. For example, after giving instructions for a group activity, the teacher might say, "Can someone repeat the first step for me?" Or "Show me what you're going to do first." This method allows the teacher to gauge how well the class has understood the instructions and address any confusion immediately. According to formative assessment theory, checking for understanding helps ensure that students are on the right track before they begin the task. This prevents future mistakes and saves time on reteaching later. As Confucius wisely said, "Tell me, and I will forget. Show me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I will understand." Engaging students in active recall of instructions leads to better comprehension. Recommendations: use show-and-tell methods to ensure students understand before starting a task. Ask open-ended questions to confirm understanding, such as, "What's the next step after you finish this part?" Encourage peer explanation, where students help clarify the task to each other. Focus point 5. Timing and task setup. There's often a debate about whether to give instructions before or after presenting the task materials. In most cases, it's better to provide the instructions before handing out any materials. If students have materials in front of them, their attention may shift away from listening to the instructions and toward the items they are eager to explore. For example, if a teacher gives out art supplies before explaining the activity, students are likely to start fiddling with the materials instead of focusing on the instructions. Conversely, explaining the steps first, then distributing the materials afterward, helps students stay focused on understanding what they need to do. A study by the American Educational Research Association suggests that students retain information better when they're not distracted by extraneous materials or tasks while instructions are being delivered. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." By keeping the task setup simple and well-structured, teachers create an environment that fosters better comprehension and task completion. Recommendations: always deliver instructions before distributing materials or tools that may distract students. Establish a routine where students know to focus on the instructions before starting the task. After giving instructions, briefly check that students are ready before distributing any materials or moving to the next phase. Master the art of clarity. Clarity in instructions is essential for maintaining a productive and engaged classroom. When teachers communicate expectations clearly, students are less likely to feel confused, frustrated, or disengaged. For instance, when a teacher gives simple, direct instructions like take out your math book and complete the first 3 problems, students are more likely to follow through without unnecessary questions. On the other hand, a vague instruction like work on some math problems leaves too much room for interpretation, leading to confusion and lost time. The importance of clarity can be supported by the work of psychologist Lev Vygotsky, whose theory of scaffolding emphasizes the importance of breaking down tasks into manageable, understandable steps for students. By providing clear instructions, teachers are effectively scaffolding the learning process, guiding students through each phase of the task. Precision is the essence of communication, said Robert Baden-Powell, founder of the Boy Scouts, and this holds especially true in the classroom. Recommendations: break down instructions into short, manageable steps and avoid overloading students with too much information at once. Regularly reflect on how students respond to your instructions to continuously refine your clarity. Improve classroom flow. When teachers give well-structured instructions, the overall classroom flow improves dramatically. Students understand what to do and how to transition between activities, reducing downtime and maintaining engagement. A teacher who frequently checks for understanding by asking students to explain the task in their own words creates smoother transitions and fewer disruptions. An excellent example is a teacher managing group work. By clearly explaining roles and steps such as group leader, you will gather materials, recorder, you will take notes, the teacher sets the stage for an organized activity. In contrast, unclear group instructions can lead to students talking over each other, wasting time figuring out their roles. According to a study by Marzano Research, classrooms that operate with clear, consistent procedures and transitions have significantly fewer behavioral issues, leading to a better learning environment. Order and simplification are the first steps toward the mastery of a subject, said Thomas Mann, reflecting how streamlined instructions foster a more orderly classroom. Recommendations: establish a consistent format for giving instructions so students know what to expect. Use visual aids or cues to guide transitions between activities for smoother classroom management. Avoid common mistakes. Teachers often fall into the trap of over-explaining or using overly complex language when giving instructions. For instance, a well-meaning teacher may try to cover every possible scenario in their instructions, leading to information overload. Students then become confused, unsure which parts are essential and which are simply extra detail. The key is finding a balance between being comprehensive and concise. Teachers should also be aware of the impact of their tone. Overusing polite requests such as, "if it's not too much trouble," can unintentionally weaken the authority of the instruction. A firmer but still respectful approach like "please start your reading now" sets a clearer expectation. The concept of cognitive load theory, which suggests that students can only handle so much information at once, supports the importance of simplicity in instructions. By reducing extraneous details, teachers can help students focus on the core task. Leonardo da Vinci's wisdom that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication reminds us that well-crafted instructions don't need to be long-winded to be effective. Recommendations: practice giving instructions in clear, short sentences that focus on the key actions students need to take. Avoid over-explaining. Trust that students will ask for clarification if needed. Effectively check understanding. One of the biggest challenges in teaching is ensuring students truly understand instructions before they begin an activity. A teacher might ask, "Do you understand?" and receive a chorus of yes in return, only to find later that many students were unsure. Instead, effective teachers ask students to repeat or demonstrate the instructions back to them. For example, a teacher might say, "Can someone tell me what you'll do after you finish reading this passage?" This checks for understanding more effectively than a simple yes or no question, and allows the teacher to clear up any misunderstandings before they affect the task. In a 2016 study published in the Journal of Educational Research, researchers found that students who were asked to explain their tasks out loud demonstrated a higher rate of task completion and comprehension. This approach not only reinforces understanding, but also builds students' confidence in the task. As Benjamin Franklin once said, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn." Recommendations: use interactive methods such as asking students to explain the task to a partner or demonstrate it to the class. Avoid relying on yes or no questions to check understanding. Dig deeper with follow-up questions. Timing and task setup. When it comes to task setup, the timing of instructions can make all the difference. A teacher who distributes materials before explaining the task may find students distracted, playing with supplies or flipping through pages before fully understanding the activity. To avoid this, it's often best to provide instructions first, ensuring that students' attention is focused solely on what is being said. For example, in a science class, rather than handing out lab equipment at the beginning of the session, the teacher might first explain the procedure and safety guidelines. Once students understand what they need to do, the materials can be distributed. This prevents students from fiddling with the equipment during the instruction phase and ensures they are fully prepared when they begin the task. The concept of attentional control supports this approach. According to the Journal of Applied Developmental Psychology, students who are instructed to focus their attention before engaging with materials perform tasks more efficiently and with fewer errors. As the poet Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least." By giving instructions before presenting materials, teachers prioritize understanding over distraction. Recommendations: always give clear instructions before distributing materials or tools, ensuring full attention on the task. Create a routine in your classroom where students know to wait for instructions before handling materials. Conclusion: in today's educational environment, mastering the art of giving clear and effective instructions is crucial for fostering an engaging and productive classroom. Let's recap the key focus points we've discussed in this audiobook. Clarity: delivering instructions in simple, straightforward language to ensure that students know exactly what is expected of them. Improving classroom flow: structuring tasks and transitions effectively to minimize disruptions and maintain focus. Avoiding common mistakes: recognizing and eliminating pitfalls like over-explaining, tricky language, and being overly polite. Checking understanding: using interactive techniques to ensure that students truly understand the instructions before starting an activity. Task setup and timing: giving instructions before distributing materials to keep students' attention where it needs to be. Recommendations: break down instructions into bite-sized, digestible parts, and maintain simplicity. Consistently check for understanding by asking students to repeat or demonstrate the task. Prioritize instructions over distributing materials to manage focus and engagement. Throughout this audiobook, we've explored the various strategies and techniques to refine your instructional delivery. By implementing these methods, you'll enhance classroom dynamics, improve student comprehension, and reduce misunderstandings. These skills are not only vital for classroom management, but also for creating a positive, inclusive learning environment. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Mastering Classroom Instructions. Your interest in improving your teaching methods is commendable, and I hope this audiobook has provided you with valuable insights that you can apply in your classroom. If you found this audiobook helpful, please like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with other educators. The more we engage in conversations about teaching, the more we can collectively improve. For those looking to enhance their English, remember, the more they listen, the better they speak. By continuing to engage with content like this, you're not just improving your teaching skills but also sharpening your language abilities. Thank you once again, and we look forward to having you with us on the next journey to mastering effective teaching.